Okay, class, settle down, please. Please settle down. I know we're all excited for the weekend, understandably so. I also know we're all excited for the game tonight against Greenwood. I get it. I do, okay? But there's still time for class, there's still time for school, and there's definitely still time to do some learning, okay? So, can anybody answer me this question? What did we learn about last week? Correct. We learned about the nutrition side of dieting, okay? We learned about types of diets. We learned about what it looked like to be eating on a diet, what it looked like for your nutrition standpoint on trying to lose weight. Okay, that's what we learned about last week. But this week, however, we're going to flip it around. Now, you may be asking yourself, what do you mean by flipping it around? Well, luckily, I'm going to tell you. Okay, so I have personal experience with this. Okay, I've had to put on weight. I've had to put on muscle. I understand how hard it can be. I get that. But what we're going to talk about is very important if you are an athlete or if you are trying to gain weight or put on muscle. Now, one thing that I want to iterate, all right, this is going to work for a lot of different people, okay, but what it looks like is going to depend on your body type, and it's also going to depend on how big you already are. Now, for an example of that, a little bit of an extreme one, but for an example of that, you may have been wondering who this big dude behind me is, all right, that's Ryan Oberst, okay, he's a World's Strongest Man. Does anybody know what a World's Strongest Man competition is? Yes. Correct, exactly. Okay, it's a competition where the biggest, the strongest men come together and they compete to see who of them is the strongest, dubbed the strongest man in the world, world's strongest man. All right. I'm going to start this video. Please pay attention, okay? We're not going to watch the whole thing. It's just going to be a little snippet, but pay attention, and here we go.
Yeah. We've got a table for 8, right? You guys ready to eat?
Yeah. I don't think people even realize how much food we eat and the meat sweats. Being this size, you gotta eat about 10,000 calories a day.
I have to eat 10,000 calories a day, and I have.
Now, for those of you who may be thinking, oh, yes, I've got some sort of auditory problem, I definitely didn't hear that right. No, you did. 10,000 calories a day. Let's continue.
I have to eat every couple hours. It is literally costing me thousands and thousands of dollars.
How many should we order? What's a normal Buckley and full?
Maybe 5, 6 soft-shell crabs.
You wanna get a 10 times that?
Whoa.
Like 50 minutes.
Wings as well? Even chicken wings? A couple hundred or whatever you got in the back.
What's this snack? Can I get 2 of the ribeye?
My favorite thing to eat is steak.
Oh, yeah, that's what we do.
It just provides more nutritional content. I really try to stick with stuff that's going to fuel my body adequately.
Can I get 2 pepper-crusted sirloin Alfredos? With double meat? Can I have, what?
Okay, like I said, we're not going to watch the whole thing. I just wanted to show you a little bit of how ridiculous it can be depending on your end goal in mind. Okay, so for those of you who don't know, this is Brian Shaw. Okay, count them out, 1, 2, 3, 4-time world's strongest man. Oftentimes considered one of the greatest of all time. That's him right there. If there's anybody that knows how to get to that level of greatness through nutrition, it is him. Okay, he's 6'9", 6'9", 430 pounds, big man. Okay, but he wouldn't get to the level that he's at without his nutrition, and he'll be one of the first ones to tell you that. Okay, now let me set up this PowerPoint real quick, like boom. Present from the beginning. Beautiful. Now, for those of you who have been able to piece together what we're learning about this week, even though I've told you exactly what we're learning this week, we're going to be learning about the nutrition for athletes, for athletics, what it takes in order to get into the peak of your athletic potential and your ability, okay? So, now, view the slide. For those of you who might be confused because you see me and then you see this fantastically handsome looking person in the background, that is me. For those of you who did not know, I played football at the University of Central Arkansas for 5 years. Okay, now I'm going to tell you a little bit about my story. Now, I came out of Benton High School at 275 pounds, okay? I thought I was God's gift to football, okay? I thought I was just huge. I just thought I was everything that anybody would ever want in an offensive lineman size-wise, okay? But I showed up to football on the first day, and we did our weigh-ins, and Coach Boykin approached me afterwards. He said, "You came in small. why are you only 275 pounds? I said, Coach, I'm 275. Like, what are you talking about? I'm huge. He's like, no, if you want to play at this level, you're going to be at least 300. If you have any want to or need to play at this university this year, you're going to be 300 pounds. Crap. Okay. So I gained 25 pounds. For those of you who are not very good at math, going from 275 to 300 is 25 pounds. Yes, that is correct. Now, I did it the only way that I knew how, and that was sloppily, okay? This time in high school, I was eating 3 meals a day of whatever I wanted to eat, okay? I don't recommend it. I don't, okay? Now, freshman year, I ended up getting up to 300 pounds, played that season, whatever. And then I also took my nutrition class. Then I got to my sophomore year of college, okay? Sophomore year, I needed to get up to 310 because apparently 300 wasn't enough anymore. But I did want to do it the way I did before based off what I learned in my nutrition class. So instead what I did was I dropped back down to 275 and then I got up to 310 doing it the right way. Now, like I said, in high school I had 3 meals. At this point in college I was eating 5 meals a day, okay? I would do breakfast, then we'd have a workout, I would do a post-workout meal, then I would do lunch, then we'd have practice, I'd have a post-workout meal, or a post-practice meal, and then I would do dinner at home, okay? Now, consisting of some healthy foods, not as much as I should have, okay? Now, my last year of college, I weighed 325 pounds because apparently 310 wasn't enough. So I did it the right way this time, okay? I built myself in a way that I felt comfortable, that I could move around well and move weight and be where I needed to be at weight-wise, okay? So at that point in college, I was doing 7 meals a day, okay? So basically all 5 that I said beforehand, I would do a dinner, then I would do a second dinner, and then I would do that post-workout meal, and then I would have 2 lunches, okay? So 7 meals a day. I was eating somewhere around 5,500, 6,500 calories a day. So like I said, I understand this. I've been through this. A lot of times you have teachers that can't relate to the material they're teaching personally. Well, I can, okay? Specifically this time. Now, let's get to the objectives of this assignment. There we go. Okay. So, last week I know we talked about nutrition. I know we talked about the basis of nutrition, but I didn't give you the definitions specifically for this example, for this lesson, okay? So, you're going to know the definitions of calories, proteins, carbohydrates, and fats. Trust me, we'll go over it. I'll give you time to take notes. I will do all that kind of stuff. You need to pay attention to this, okay? The second thing we'll learn is the importance of eating enough. Now, it is important to eat enough, but why? I'll break that down when we get to that point in the slide, okay? Third point is, does it matter what you eat if you're consuming the same number of calories? Now, that is a mouthful, but basically what I'm saying is, does it matter whether you're eating chicken, cheese, rice, and spinach, and all that other kind of stuff compared to eating just like pizza, ice cream, potato chips, okay? Again, we'll cover all this in the very near future. Oh, technology, what a thing. There we go. Okay, first slide, what we eat. Now, this is the definitions that I was talking about. Please, pay attention, okay? Because this will be on the test that you will take next Thursday, okay? When is the test? Next Thursday. Thank you. All right. Calories is a unit of energy often used to express the nutritional value of food. Now, we can break this down into the scientific part of it where it's a singular unit of the unit amount that it takes to raise a square meter of water by 1 degree. We're not going to go into that. I'm not your science teacher. I'm your nutrition teacher, okay? Carbohydrates, any of a large group of organic compounds that include sugar, starch, and cellulose, containing hydrogen and oxygen in the same ratio as water. That is all we're going to focus on. If you pay attention to the slide, there's more that's on there. That's what we're going to pay attention to. That is the definition that'll be on your test. When, Jeremiah? Thursday, correct. Fantastic. Now, fats is a source of essential fatty acids which the body cannot make itself. The body cannot make itself is important, okay? Now, that contains carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. CHO for short. That will be important. For those of you who are getting confused and are not very good with definitions, okay, the part that says fatty acids will be for the fats, okay? So there's the answer for the test coming up Thursday, okay? There you go. Pay attention, write it down. We're moving on. Proteins is any of various naturally occurring extremely complex substances that consist of amino acid residues joined by peptide bonds. Now, there's more to that, as I said earlier. We're going to pay attention to that part specifically. Now, proteins, they consist of They consist of carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, and nitrogen, okay? CHON for short. Now, what I really want you to focus on is complex substances that consist of amino acid residues joined by peptide bonds. That is essentially what a protein is. If you see that at any point during your life, it is a protein. Okay, any questions? Perfect. Well, we continue. Okay, now your body burns those four things in a very specific order, okay? We were given this body by something greater than ourselves, and it runs on a system that does not deviate, okay? First thing that your body will burn is carbohydrates, okay? For example, carbohydrate would be breads, rice, anything basically made from wheat has a bunch of carbs in it, okay? So it burns carbohydrates first. That's why you hear athletes a lot of times say they're going to carbo load before a big event, right? For example, like if our football team is going to go play a game on Friday, I tell them to eat spaghetti or pizza on Thursday night, right? It has a bunch of carbs. It's the first thing that gets burned. Second thing is your fats, okay? Third thing is going to be your proteins, okay? Now, proteins are made of, we know what we're made of. We just talked about that. But proteins, for example, would be like red meats, chicken, eggs, peanut butter, so like nuts and stuff like that. Those all have protein in it, okay? That'll be the third thing that's burned. The last thing is calories, okay? Now, calories are burned fourth. Now, we talked about last week how during diets, people would get rid of or try to lower their levels of carbohydrates, fats, and proteins to get to the calories so they can burn the calories so it doesn't get stored into fat. Any confusions? Any questions? Perfect. I have got to be the best teacher in the world because y'all seem to never have questions. Okay, if you get confused, please just ask. I'll be more than happy to clear it up. Are you eating enough? So remember earlier when I told you that I would tell you why. Why it's important to make sure that you're eating enough. All right, well, here's your example, okay? If I'm in the gym and I'm doing bicep curls, right? Biceps right here. If I'm doing bicep curls, if I put enough strain on them, my muscle fibers are going to rip, okay? And if you're not eating enough, all right, your body will not build those fibers back as quickly as it would if you were eating enough. Those muscle fibers will not come back as strong compared to if you're eating enough, and they will not come back bigger compared to if you were eating enough. Okay, that's why it's important that you have to eat enough, especially while you're working out. Now, it is recommended to eat 0.5 to 0.8 grams of protein per pound of body weight. Okay, that is crucial. Okay, but I also told you that I had to do this myself. Now, personally, I was working out 3 times a day, okay? I had 2 workouts a day for football, if you consider practice a workout, and I also had my own personal workout that I would do afterwards. Okay, I was working out 3 times a day. I bumped my protein up based off of what my body needed from 0.8 to 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight, okay? Now, personally, at the time that I was my senior year, I was 325 pounds. Now, I told you this. 0.8 to 1 gram. Now, granted, I'm not a math teacher, but from my own experience, it's somewhere between 255 grams of protein to 325 pounds of protein. Excuse me. Grams of protein, please do not eat 325 pounds of protein, okay? Don't do it. Not a good idea. Okay. Any questions? And that goes along with my example of that it matters your body type, and it also matters what goal you're looking for, okay? Any questions? Yet again, the greatest teacher in the world. Now, what is better? That is the title of the slide. And the reason the title is for that slide is basically what I said earlier. Is it better? Does it matter if you consume 5,000 calories of red meat, chicken, and rice, and all your vegetables and all your fruits compared to if you just eat 5,000 grams of pizza or ice cream or potato chips or whatever other unhealthy foods you can dream of? So it does matter, and this is why. Because research has shown that calories from different foods can have a different effect on your fullness, insulin response, the process of turning carbs to body fat, and your metabolic expenditure. Okay, for those of you who don't know, metabolic expenditure is basically when you hear somebody say, oh, my metabolism is low. Basically, it's how quickly your body burns off the foods that you put into it. Okay, now, for example, it's basically what I have been saying for the past. It's eating a meal that consists of grilled chicken, rice, spinach, and cheese can have the same number of calories as 2 slices of pizza. However, the first meal is far more beneficial. And when I say that, I'm talking about you're going to have more protein in the chicken than you are in the pizza, okay? You might have the same amount of carbs, okay? You'll get lactose from eating both the cheese on both the chicken and both on the pizza. But you'll also get more vitamins and minerals from eating the spinach compared to just anything else that's on the pizza. Now, that is what I'm saying when I tell you it is important that it matters what you eat, because yes, it might have the same amount of calories. It might have the same amount of calories, but you're going to get more beneficial nutrients and all of those things compared to when you eat something that's non-nutritional in essence, okay? Now, in conclusion, this is important because everything I've just told you will be on the test next Thursday, okay? So I hope you've been taking notes. You will have to know the definitions and the examples of the terms calories, carbs, vitamins, and proteins. Sorry, not vitamins. I apologize. That is not correct. Calories, carbs, fats, and proteins, okay? That is what will be on your test. When is your test, Grace? Thursday is correct. Yes, absolutely. Okay, your test is Thursday. And yes, that will be on the test. Okay? Now, second point is you have to know that it is important to eat enough. Now, why is it important? I've already discussed that. Okay, these two things right here, these two bullet points will be essay-filled questions. Okay, so you have to be able to describe to me why it's important that you eat enough, and you'll have to explain the process and what I used and give me an example of it. So for example, like I said, biceps with the curls, you could do hamstrings and glutes with the squats. You could do whatever you want to do with that. And the third point is, why is it important to eat the right foods? Now, I just went on that whole spiel. I was hoping you're taking notes. We're going to do a lab next Tuesday with MyFitnessPal, and it's basically going to break down, how much you need to eat of calories, carbs, proteins, all of those types of things, based off your own body weight and based off your own levels of movement and exercise and all that kind of stuff. Now, we are going to review, and it's up to you on how you're going to review. Okay? We can do Kahoot if you would like. Y'all know what Kahoot is. It's basically that competitive platform where the teacher gets to create their own questions, and then y'all get to compete to see who can answer them quicker and answer them most correctly. Okay? We've done this before. Y'all know what it is. Pick a number between 1 and 10, Rebecca. 8. Okay, the top 8 out of this class will get a prize out of the treasure box if you get in the top 8, obviously. Okay, or we can do trash can ball. Y'all know what trash can ball is. We played that a lot of times too. Okay, you can either do boys and girls, or we can do, I can number y'all off however y'all end up wanting to do it. But basically, you put a trash can at the end of against a wall. You set pieces of tape on the floor. You answer the answer correctly, you can get to shoot from one of those pieces of tape to score points for your team. Y'all know both of these. Y'all get to choose. Trash can ball. Kahoot. Trash can ball it is. Okay, let's get this game started and let's play ball.